A man is escaping with his child, but he finds a girl in front of him. With her powers, she directs the pistol in his hand to his son. Someone takes him out, and we see a deceased child on the ground surrounded by a group of children. To understand the story, we must go back 5 years in time to a small town called Midwich. Susanna, the psychiatrist, talks to her daughter Cassie, who tells her that she is going to London for work and she will return the same day. She is watching TV when something strange happens and the town runs out of electricity. Susanna instructs her on what to do until she returns home. The officers in the police department notice the power outage. One of them informs the director, Max, but nobody knows what's happening. After several hours, strange behavior occurs. Horses escape from their stables, and during the evening, a thunderbolt strikes the town. The residents faint, as well as the animals. During the night, Susanna returns and finds the roads closed. She gets out of the taxi and continues to walk, but the police officers stop her. They tell her to go back to her car and wait until the problem is resolved in the town. Susanna worries about Cassie. Because the police refuse to tell her about the matter, she decides to act on her own. She enters the town through side roads, avoiding the police. Once she gets inside, she sees scientists running some experiments. The strange thing is that when one of the scientists enters the town, he also faints. This happens before Susanna's eyes. She becomes terrified for her daughter and runs home. But she faints and falls unconscious. The police outside the town commence an investigation into the matter. A woman from the presidency whose name is Bryony Cummings meets Max. He tells her that they have placed barriers around the town where the population is almost 11,000. The infected area has a population of only 200 people. He tells her that every time someone enters the town, he falls unconscious. He shows her photos of people who fainted on the ground. The problem is that they do not know whether these people are alive or dead. When they sent a helicopter on a mission to take pictures of the town, it failed because there was an unknown magnetic field that disrupted the machines, devices, and calls. Their talk is interrupted by updates about Susanna and what happened to her. They quickly go to where she is, and surprisingly, they find her regaining consciousness. Max tells her that they will do some tests on her. The next day, special forces arrive and take over the operation in the town. Max only takes orders from them. Their first mission is to fly a helicopter in a reconnaissance mission. What happens is that the cameras malfunction. What worsens the whole thing is when the pilots faint and the plane falls in a collision. The police and special forces suspect that strange entities are inside the town. They order an evacuation, but Susanna and the other residents don't want to leave their families and kids. Suddenly, Susanna gets a call from Cassie, telling her that she is alive. Then the cell phones buzz with calls from the town. A miracle is happening. People wake up at the same time as animals. Max orders the officers to go to the town. He can't leave the center, so he asks Cummings to check on his wife, as she is a resident of the town. She checks on Max's wife, but no one answers her. When she enters the house, she finds it soaked in the smell of gas. She helps Jody, the sister-in-law, but his wife is dead. On the other side of the town, Susanna rushes to check on her daughter. She finds her calmer than usual. 2 months later, Max meets Jody in London. He asks her to come back with him because they want to run some tests on her, which are related to the day of the power outage. Sam and his wife, Zoe, attend a meeting in the hospital, and there are many residents of the town. The doctor says that something strange happened the day of the power outage. Every woman who was exposed to the radioactivity inside the town became pregnant. This news shocks them all. Upon spotting the scrutiny cameras, the attendees feel terrified and want to leave, but the army stops them. Here Susanna calms everyone down since she's a psychiatrist and a resident of the town. Her daughter also had the same thing. She is unmarried and autistic. She does not leave the house at all. As Susanna was able to convince the people, Max hands her forms for them to sign to undergo examinations. She says that she will be the first to sign because she wants to check on her daughter's safety. and the rest follow one after another. Max asks Susanna to meet with Bernard, a government official, to investigate what happened that day. And because she's able to reach people, they seek her cooperation. Cummings tells her that some families want to keep the babies. They want her to follow up on the mother's news. In other words, to spy on them and convey their news to the officials. She agrees. Zoid receives a call from the hospital. She says that what the government said is true. After conducting the test, they found that the baby's genes contain only her DNA. Zoid becomes angry and says that she wants to get rid of this pregnancy. But Sam tells her he'll take care of the baby as if he were his own. Cummings monitors everything through cameras and tells Max that what happened 2 months ago is happening once again. Zoid doesn't like being watched. She decides to travel to London. Once at the station, she can't move, as if something is nailing her foot down. She calls Susanna and meets her. She tells her that she feels as if the baby inside her is controlling her in some way. At this moment, something strange is happening. Cassie and Zoe are due to give birth at the same time. All the pregnant women in the town come at the time of giving birth in the hospital. 2 years passed. The baby's growth is exceeding their normal peers. One day, something unexpected happens. In London, a girl whose name is Sunny strangely corresponds to the children in Midwich. She says she's coming to them. In the town, Cassie with her daughter Evie and Jody with her son Nathan both stare at some children's pictures. Sam says those kids were in the school in the past. It was their sanctuary against the air bombarding. As for Sunny, she arrives in town with her mother, Amrita. She speaks with the mayor, Stuart. They thought that Sunny was their daughter since they were in a relationship. At the school, Zoe converses with Susanna. Suddenly, the electricity fluctuates, and the kids head out to meet Sunny. It seems as if they are linked to one person and one thought, which drives them all. They act as if they have some kind of ritual. Zoe notices what's happening. She becomes worried for her daughter Hannah and quickly takes her away from the other children. Susanna takes Sunny to Stuart's house, where her mother Amrita is staying. She was in the town during the incident 2 years ago, but decided to raise her daughter in London. However, Sunny forced her to come to Midwich. Behind the monitors, Cummings watches everything and discusses with Max that Amrita and her daughter Sunny must stay in the town. Amrita doesn't comply. She tells her daughter to get ready to leave back to London. But Sunny insists on remaining where she belongs, with the rest of the kids. She even says their names as she has known them for a long time. She is taken to the examination center, where she undergoes brain testing with the rest of the children to know the extent of their mental interconnectedness with each other. Susanna asks Evie to choose a picture on the computer and then asks the rest of the children to choose the same picture without showing them what she chose. The children choose the same picture. They repeat this test more than once, and the result is the same. Zoe is troubled with what's happening. Being helpless is frustrating her. She meets Amrita and explains to her what happened 2 years ago. She asks her that she must flee this town as quickly as possible, as the mothers from birth time until now they couldn't leave. Both women exchange mobile numbers and separate after that. She comes back to the center, and by chance, she hears Susanna saying that all the children are acting like a herd, working in the same way. They mysteriously communicate with each other. After that, the parents leave with their children, and Zoe takes Hannah, who stops when she sees the dog that was attacking the children. It's dead right now. She seems relieved. Probably they killed it. Zoe returns home and tells Sam that she is worried and regrets her decision to keep the pregnancy, while Hannah is playing outside. Then she comes inside and hugs Sam. She says that her mother doesn't love her anymore. Sam speaks with his neighbor Curtis. He asks him about his opinion of these children. He responds that he has only one son of his own, and the other one, Joe. He doesn't relate to him. Hannah threatens Zoe. Why did she tell Sam about what happened? At this moment, Zoe, unwillingly, puts her hands on the boiling water in the pot. She burns her hand and screams. Sam scurries to aid her. Being terrorized, she can't tell Sam about what just happened. Inside the center, Susanna asks Sunny why she has joined now with the rest of the children. She responds that she wasn't needed up till now. They must unite with each other. Susanna doesn't know what she means by saying this. Amrita packs her clothes and wakes up her daughter to flee the town. Sunny opens her eyes. At the same time, the rest of the children know what is happening. On the other side of the town, Zoe meets Susanna at her home. She tells her how she was forced to put her hand in the boiling water. She revealed to Sam her doubts about these little weirdos. She doesn't trust them, what they are capable of doing, or what their plans are. An ominous future is waiting for them. Despite everything, Susanna doesn't take her suspensions seriously. Zoe becomes furious over her response that she's taking her as one of her patients. Amrita takes her girl on her escape plan. Then strange things happen in the town. A flock of birds is migrating. The sky is thundering, and the children are behaving strangely. When they reach the train, Sunny doesn't move. And again, the electricity fluctuates. It's Sunny who's using her power to stop her mother. At the stewards, they call Susanna, and Stewart tells her that he called Amrita, but without any response. Here, Susanna suggests taking her to the center, but Sunny says that she will stay in this house. Their conversation is interrupted by a call from Max, who asks Susanna to meet him at the garage. When she arrives there, she finds Amrita's car with open doors. Max investigates Amrita's disappearance. Sunny tells him that she took her to the train station, and when she refused to go with her, she took the train alone. Max decides to check the camera's footage. He finds where she has been, but the cameras have no recordings. Each camera malfunctions for up to 30 seconds until the car passes. A meeting takes place between the mothers of the children and Susanna. Some of the mothers explain they feel that these children are aliens, while others are still holding on to them, like Cassie, who is attached to Evie and can't leave her. At home, Susanna notices that Evie is having a nightmare, and when she touches her forehead, she finds her temperature is down to 0. What shocks her is she sees a frosty cold place. Max rechecks the camera's recordings and notices a strange car parked in the place where Amrita disappeared. He inquires about that and learns that this car is used to transport frozen items once a week. He goes to the company where the car is registered. After investigating the matter, he finds Amrita's frozen body inside the car. He informs Cummings that Amrita is dead. Bernard, who is in charge of the children's research program, explores the murder. He wants Cummings to tell the workers a cover-up story about Amrita's death. Also, none of the mothers should know about the death, especially Susanna. Max begins to worry, but he can't do anything. Susanna checks Evie's drawings to find weird stuff like the deceased dog and Sunny with her mother's car. The kids in a circle. Curtis parks his car next to the children's program facility and takes his son, Dave, where Nathan and Joe are playing with the swing set. Harshly, he grabs them away to let his son play. The other two boys become frustrated and make Curtis' life in trouble. Dave falls off the seat and gets injuries in his arm and face. Susanna apologizes to Zoe about what happened the last time they met. Bearing in mind that Hannah is listening, she can't tell her everything. But once she sees Dave's terrible condition, she asks Sam who was there with him. He tells her that Nathan and Joe were there. Susanna heads to the children's school where she finds Sam. He tells her that Cummings and Max want her to speak with the children. She asks Nathan whether he and Joe harmed Dave. He refuses to answer her, but she presses more when she asks about Amrita's mysterious death. Nathan says that it was Amrita's fault. The children get up from their slumber and hurry up to save Nathan, who starts screaming to let them all free. Susanna doesn't know what to do, especially when all the children come to the window knocking from outside. And Zoe wants to save her life and books the train. This time, she rides it without difficulty, and she reaches London. She calls Amrita thinking that she managed to escape from Midwich. When she doesn't get a response from Amrita, she calls one of her university mates. When they meet, He congratulates her for her daughter, but Zoe says that she's not hers. Back to Susanna, who's taken by the police for interrogation. Max tells her that what she's done isn't her duty. She responds that she had to speak with Nathan because she had noticed from days ago that these kids were seeing the same dream, a cold place like frost. Cummings and Max know that all this is connected to Amrita's death, but she doesn't tell Susanna anything about the incident. They only tells her that she must stick to her work and never pay attention to anything else, otherwise she will be fired from work. As for Zoe, she is talking to her friend from the university. She tells him about the story of these children. While talking, she feels that someone is watching over her. She discovers that the children are the ones who expelled her from the town. She apologizes to him and leaves, returning to Midwich. But who's watching over her is Bernard. Cassie knows what her mother did. Susanna says that she was checking on the children, but she gets the chance to investigate the matter when Cassie tells her that she is going out with her friends. Susanna sits with Evie. As for Sam, he calls Zoe because she has been missing for several days. Here, Hannah tells him that Curtis is hostile to them and doesn't wish them well. She directs him to head to his neighbor and beats him severely until he falls to the ground. When he returns to his consciousness and blood is on his face and hands, he looks at Hannah, who looks back at him with an evil smile. Max, who doubts the matter, heads home. He doesn't tell Jody about the updates learned recently. He goes to Nathan and asks him if they're the ones who killed Amrita. At first, he hesitates, but then he denies it. To Susanna, she listens to a recording of her conversation with Nathan. Here, Evie comes, and Susanna asks her about her dream. She doesn't tell her. Instead, she tells her she wants to walk a bit. Susanna goes out with her and into the woods. Hannah asks her to play hide and seek, and if she finds her, she will tell her whatever she wants. But she can't find her anywhere as she has evaporated from the woods. In a parallel scene, Nathan tells Max that Evie is afraid of Susanna, who is following her in the woods and wants to harm her. He runs to check on the child, finds Cassie, and learns from her their usual walking track in the woods. Susanna is still searching for the child and can't find her. She runs from place to place, chasing the child. Suddenly, the child stops at the railway tracks, and there tells her that she wants to get rid of them. The real plan was for the children to eliminate her from their vicious plan, as she was following a lead that may expose them. Evie runs from her until Max and Cassie find her. She tells them that Susanna wants to hurt her, and she's scared right now. Upon this, Cassie tells her mother that they don't want to live with her. When Zoe returns home, she finds Sam in a deteriorating condition. He tells her that he is now convinced of everything she said, and that is just because today, Hannah made him beat Curtis. He tells her that they must now plan to escape and get away from this town. As for Cassie, she leaves the house and goes with Cummings to another safe place, and Susanna gets expelled from work. She is not allowed to contact the children and their families. Sam and Zoe implement the escape plan. She writes an email in which she explains the entire story of what they went through. Meanwhile, Hannah comes and hugs her, and Zoe behaves normally, as if she loves her. After that, she explains to Sam that she has finished writing. She prints it out in 2 copies, one for them to keep at home, and the second copy to give to Cummings. They intend to pressure them to respond to everything they ask. Bernard hands Cummings a report on Amrita's death, which is a fabricated story, to spread it between the people. In return, she shows him Zoe's article to pressure them to implement what they ask of them. Susanna gets an unknown email. When she opens it, she only finds one word, Nordosk. And Zoe gets an email from Cumming indicating the rendezvous to discuss their requirements. Hannah sneaks in from behind, but they notice her and act normal. And Zoe closes her laptop. Zoe meets Cummings and Bernard. She tells them that all she wants from them is to help her and Sam get out of this town and stay away from Hannah. She's not their kid. She says that they won't reveal the secret of what has happened to anyone. Max visits Susanna and tells her the truth, Amrita's body was discovered 2 weeks ago, but they covered up the matter and made it a suicide case. This was under Bernard's command. Now he wants her to cooperate with him in uncovering the case of these children. He asks her if she has found anything in her investigations. She plays her recordings with Nathan, where he almost admits that the children are the ones who killed Amrita. But the noise of the children distorts the rest of his words. Then she tells him that she has received an email with one word, Nordusk, but she doesn't know who has sent it. Max asks her to give him the recordings, and then he will investigate the matter of the email. Sam takes the children on an exploratory trip in the woods when he gets a text message from Zoe informing him that they have agreed to their requests. When he finds the children gathered around plants on the ground, he warns them to stay away from them because they're poisonous and kill whoever eats them in seconds. In the police department, Max takes Nathan's recording and gives it to one of the officers in the department and asks him to clean the voice and make the words understandable. The man removes the noise, and they hear the voice of the children saying the name Nordusk in Russian. After she undergoes a home pregnancy test, Zoe discovers that she is pregnant, normal pregnancy. She decides not to tell Sam and hides it from Hannah. When she talks to Sam, she tells him that they must escape from the town and not reveal anything to the children. They must control their emotions and only focus on the plan. The next day, they execute their plan, and Zoe checks whether the copy of the town story is in place. But Joe, the little neighbor, watches over them. He telepathically communicates with Hannah and tells her that something weird is happening in the house. However, Hannah doesn't react immediately. She accompanies Sam on the trip as usually they do. Susanna visits his daughter, Cassie, and tells her that she wants to talk to her. She agrees, but on the condition that she doesn't want her to meet Evie, who leaves with one of Cassie's friends. She allows her to come in. Susanna convinces her daughter that these children aren't normal beings. They form a danger to the townspeople. She tells her about Amrita's death. They killed her, and if they feel that she is a danger to them, they do not hesitate to kill her as well. She asks her to be of assistance to her in revealing their truth, or at least transforming them for the better. Sam takes his daughter to join the rest of the children on their regular daily trip. From Hannah's reactions, he realizes that they have discovered their secret, and when he turns away from them, they look at him strangely, as if they are threatening him. He sends a message to Zoe, telling her that she must be careful because they have discovered their plan. Zoe sends back that they should move now. As soon as Sam receives the message, he leaves, not knowing that the children are watching him through the woods. Max enters Cummings' office after she leaves it. He searches in one of the drawers for a specific file and finds it, Nordusk. He browses to find it full of old pictures of children from the very past. None of them had survived. But what's their relationship with the children of this town? That's what he wants to find out. When he returns to his home, Sam finds Zoe has prepared everything to escape, and because she finds him afraid, she tells him about her pregnancy. Sam feels a rush of adrenaline in his blood to protect his family. She remembers the file in which she wrote the story of these children, but she doesn't find it in its place. At Cassie's house, when Evie finds out that Susanna is at home, she becomes angry with her mother. Susanna tells her that she wants to know exactly what they want. Evie responds that now they will not be able to stop them. She says that they want to get rid of the one who keeps them away from Sam. Here, Cassie hurries out to save Zoe, and Susanna asks her about Nordusk. The electricity fluctuates when Evie gets infuriated and says that in the past, the humans betrayed them and wiped them away. This means that they're inhuman. Inside the research facility, Cummings finds Max looking through her files. He says that he wants to find out about the Nordusk case. She tells him that he should stop because this is dangerous for him. He gets a call from Cassie telling him that Zoe is in danger and leaves saying that once he returns, she must tell him everything she knows. As for Zoe, she is sitting completely drugged under Hannah's influence. She tells her that they knew about their plan to escape. She hands her the seeds of the poisonous plant and asks her to swallow them. Max wants to help, but from behind, Nathan freezes him. He faints on the ground. Evie tells Susanna that in the past they came in peace. They chose the earth as their dwelling, and they made peace agreements with humankind. What did they do in return? They bombarded their school and killed them afterward. This time, they will fight, and they won't be fooled into any kind of agreement. Susanna says they can live together in peace, but they should stop the killing. Evie says if they let them live, they will not kill Zoe. Under the current circumstances, Susanna agrees with her. And if anything wrong happens, she'll take full responsibility. Upon hearing that, Evie stops Hannah from killing Zoe, and everything goes back to normal. Sam and Zoe are shocked by what's happening, and how Hannah has transformed into a loving child in seconds. 2 years have passed since the agreement. The townspeople are acting normal as they have forgotten the bizarre incidents linked to the children. One day, Susanna is going to work. Bernard thanks her for her efforts in establishing peace in the town. He hands her a file and says that this is the next stage of research on the children. He needs to run necessary tests on them, then they'll get them back. Susanna learns that these tests will take place at a military base. She says that the children will not allow him to examine them. He responds that they're the ones who asked him to do that in the first place. Sam and Zoe with their little girl, Ellie, and Hannah lives with them too. They are still afraid of her for their lives. They hear Curtis scolds Joe across the street. Hannah feels unsettled because he forms a threat to them. At the military base, where Susanna accompanies Evie and Max takes Nathan, Bernard wants them to wait outside because the military base is a top-secret area. Sam is at school with the children. Something strange happens. He checks on the children to find out that they have completely disappeared. Outside, he finds an opening door that leads to the underground. There, he faints. By chance, Dave inspects the place. As for the military base, Nathan and Evie take over the place. Cummings and the others faint. All the children are uniting with Nathan and Evie. The children notice Dave, who runs away. Suddenly, things get to normal, and Nathan and Evie go back to the cars. But Dave is found frozen. His mother takes him to the hospital. Once Susanna visits him after returning to the town, she hears him repeating, "School." He doesn't even remember his mother. He lost his memory. Susanna meets with Max. She tells him that something strange happened once they were at the military base. Their peace agreement is nothing but a mere fraud that covers something sinister. Max wants her to act normal and carry on her mission of knowing their hidden agenda without grabbing the attention. Sam checks the door underneath the school and finds Dave's toy. He tells Zoe, who says that he shouldn't disturb them because she's now thinking of their daughter Ellie's safety. In the hospital, Rachel is pouring water for her kid Dave. When she overhears Bernard talking to one of the children saying that they should have killed him since he saw everything, she becomes scared and takes Dave out of the hospital. She calls Susanna and tells her that these children are the ones who hurt her kid. Meanwhile, the boy who was talking to Bernard finds Dave's bed empty. He telepathically communicates with Evie and the others, alarming them to act. Rachel is in the car escaping from the town when she finds the vicious littles blocking the road. They steer her car and get it into an accident exactly as they did with Amrita. In the town, Sam meets Max against what Zoe told him to let go and live in peace for the sake of their daughter. And Susanna meets Max. He tells her what Sam said, and they go down to the basement under the school. Suddenly, the electricity goes out and Max knows that the children are nearby. He leaves Susanna behind and meets the children, convincing them that he's alone. They lock the door and lead the way to meet Nathan and Evie. When he goes back to school, they appoint Nathan as a guard who observes him. In the car, Max notices that Nathan holds a sharp tool in his hand to get himself injured. In this way, he's not in communication with the others. Locked underground, Susanna hears steps descending the stairs. It's Bernard. She learns that he's plotting something with the kids. The next day, Susanna hears a female voice. She calls on her to help her get out. Once she's out, she runs to Cassie. She finds her unconscious on the ground. She attempted suicide because she couldn't let them take her daughter away from her. Fortunately, Susanna takes her to the hospital on time. When she's relieved that her daughter passed the critical condition, Susanna meets Max and Cummings and learns that Bernard is up to transferring the children. After their unwelcome coexistence with the townspeople, Cummings decides to cooperate with the team. She hands the Nordosk file to Susanna. When she goes through its pages, she learns that what Evie told her was right. Sam heads home to find his wife talking with Hannah. They get to know that he has told Max about their secret place underneath the school. But where's their daughter? They find out that Hannah locked them inside the house and let the baby outside. Hannah threatens Sam that if he doesn't tell the truth, then she'll get their daughter drowned. He tells her that Susanna was with Max down there. Hannah unlocks the door and Zoe hurries to hold her baby away from the water. Susanna asks Cummings whether she remembers what happened at the military base. She remembers glimpses and recalls that Bernard was in his consciousness. It means that he's one of them. She recalls that the soldiers shot their commander. Susanna strongly suggests they should contact the government and tell them about Bernard and how he's helping these inhuman entities to overcome an entire base. And they may spread more. Joe abruptly tells Susanna that she must come with him. Max intervenes, but the kid throws him against the wall. Susanna agrees to go with him. They fasten her feet. She can't move and Joe crushes the glass ceiling above her. But a bullet comes from behind Susanna and rests in his little body. It's Curtis. Upon Joe's death, the rest of the children's condition deteriorates. They decide to leave the town immediately. But Cassie is attached to Evie and can't leave her. She asks her to take her along with them. Curtis takes his son and attempts to escape when Hannah appears in the scene. She forces his hand to point the pistol at his son, but Max shoots the man dead. The children gather around Joe, bidding him farewell. Then they move on to carry out their plan. Susanna finds her daughter's bed empty. She looks for her in her home, but doesn't find her there as well. There, she gets a call from Evie who tells her that Cassie is with them as she wants. When she hangs up the call, she gets a text message from the same person who sent the email to her. This time he tells her that she must stop them. The army comes to town. They're from the base that Evie has taken over, and they want to evacuate the town and transfer the people to somewhere else. The children want to knock down all those who are against them. They start with Max. When he finds the army surrounding his home, he gets what's happening and drives away without anyone noticing him. He meets Susanna, who says that these children must not leave the town. Otherwise, they'll keep spreading until they take control of the earth. But first thing, she needs to take her daughter back. Max gives her a hint that Nathan might be a help for her. She heads to the school where the kids are hiding and tells them that she, willingly, wants to join them. She tells her that she knows everything now. It's Bernard, the only survivor from that past massacre. Now, they have overtaken the base, and their vicious plan stretches to outside the town, to overcome the whole planet. Since she knows everything, Bernard comes forward to talk with her. But one of the mothers insists on seeing her daughter. The daughter agrees to say goodbye to her. The mother grabs her daughter with all her might, and Evie orders the army to shoot her in front of Susanna and Cassie. Cassie gets back to her senses and realizes the real enemy. And Susanna says that they should take her in because she knows everything about them. She will help them. Evie nods with yes, pointing to the others that she can join. She's taken underground where she wonders what they're going to do with her. She looks at Nathan. He says that what happened before will happen again. Max at the moment is at one of the storages of the police. He's preparing bombs as he agrees with Susanna to blow up the bus with its riders. Meanwhile, the kids gather in front of the school, and Nathan warns Max that he must go to the underground with Jody. He gets himself injured to prevent the others from knowing what he's saying. Then he joins the children who are circling to create an ultimate power. Max calls Sam, warning him from what's coming. He takes Zoe and his daughter and hides underground. Everyone in the town faints, and there is a complete power outage in the city. Susanna gets what they're doing. And why did they lock them? They want to get rid of them and erase residents' memories of the past years. And she's right. The soldiers begin to take out any picture and every memory of the children. The next day, everything goes back to normal, as nothing has happened. At this moment, Sam and his family get out of their hideout. They find that all of Hannah's pictures are gone. Nathan checks on his mother, Jody. Does she remember him? When he finds out that she forgot him, he gets in their vehicle. Hannah does the same with Sam and Zoe. They act as if they don't remember her, but once Ellie calls her name, she becomes aware that they know her. Max kills one of the soldiers to take his clothes and hides among the army as if he were one of them. And Sam with Zoe prepare to escape once again. But Hannah comes along with the soldiers. But once she sees Ellie, she becomes sympathetic to her and leaves them without harm. Susanna asks Nathan to take Cassie with him somewhere safe. She will distract the rest of the children until they leave the planet. And Max puts the suitcase in which he implanted the bomb inside the bus. Before they leave, the children discover that Nathan is missing. Evie commanded the soldiers to find him. They chase him in the woods, but Susanna convinces Evie to let him go and get along with their plan, because they don't need to waste more time, or perhaps their plan will be ruined. Evie approves and orders the rest of the children to separate themselves from Nathan. Hence, Nathan becomes separate from them and isn't one of them anymore. Despite knowing their plan, Susanna rides the bus with the rest of the children. In this way, they don't doubt her. At this moment, Max understands that she's going to sacrifice for the greater good. One last hiccup appears when the soldiers find our fellow's body hidden in the trunk behind some crates and other stuff. They tell Bernard, and the plan is about to fail. But Max decides that it's the end. He presses the button, and boom, the bus is blown up, and the soldiers are back to their normal states. It's a Pyrrhic victory. Susanna has sacrificed for life. Zoe and Sam get to breathe the lost freedom of Midwich once again.